Hi, this is Darla, and I wanted to chat with you about something. And we had the camera set up, and I didn't want to take time to get all done up and everything because this is too important. And I want to share with you about something that I call the cycle of proving. If you have ever run into the upper limit issue in your business, like you see a vision and you're starting to grow toward that vision and something stops you, like it gets sticky, right? Things start to go wrong, or you feel like you're pushing or forcing and you're not loving it. And all of a sudden you find yourself rationalizing your way out of the thing you were originally committed to. This happens all the time. It's the biggest thing that gets in the way of your freedom, of your joy, of your happiness, of your full self-expression. And it's actually super predictable. I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs now, and I've seen it happen in all kinds of different ways. And I've seen it happening with my clients just in the last week. And so I had to share this with you because if it's going on for them, it's probably going on for you too. So I call this the cycle of proving. And there actually is a way out of this. So I want to walk you through this. So here's what happens. You peak your big vision. Peak your big vision. So you get a glimpse of what's possible. So I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who want to host retreats, and a lot of times they have this vision of a retreat that comes to them, and that's what brings them to me, right? For me, I've had visions over the years of expanding in certain ways, and I've run into this cycle in just the same way. So we peak our big vision, we get a glimpse, maybe it comes intuitively, like spirit literally is speaking to you, activating your desire to move forward in a certain way. Here's what happens next. We begin to remove obstacles. So you see your vision and you start to do some things to lay the foundation. So sometimes that might look like taking a training course to get some more information, if information is an obstacle. Or it might look like making space on your calendar to work on your business, for example. Or, changing something around in your life. If maybe it's a health goal, you clear out your pantry, right? And you only put good stuff in there. So you remove the obstacles to your goal. Makes sense, right? Now, here's what happens next is you open your mouth. Opening your mouth can happen in a lot of different ways. So this could look like telling someone about your vision, or it could look like taking an action that is visible to people. So this is where you get visible. Okay? When I first was dreaming of starting my business and I would write out curriculum for retreats and cute little notebooks, and the moment I would tell someone, this next step would happen. So opening my mouth looked like sharing it with someone. When you have people who register for and they're going to attend your retreat, actually registering and like traveling to your retreat might be the first time they become visible in their commitment. And so it's going to drive up this stuff, this same cycle. Okay? So what happens next? Almost immediately after you start to take visible action toward this goal, here's what happens. This is the key here. Something will show up to validate your fear. Something will show up to validate your fear 100% of the time. It is certain, it is guaranteed. So as you start to expand, you are going to hit that point where it becomes uncomfortable. Your fear is inside of you, right? It's like you're pressing up against your comfort zone. But you're not going to stop, right? You're committed. So something outside of you will show up to validate your fear. And a lot of times it comes in a message from another person. So for me, when I was planning my retreats and I would tell someone, they would wrinkle their nose and they would go, how are you going to make any money at that? I don't get it. And that would be enough to validate my fear, and I would stop. And I've seen this happen time and time again. It is 100% predictable. Something will validate your fear, no matter how big you grow. There's always that next level, right? One of my mentors used to say, new level, new devil. So validate your fear happens no matter what. This is the pivotal thing to know. It can show up in your business. It can show up in your personal life. It might be something that seems completely unrelated, but is spot on energetically resonant with the fear that you have. So here's what usually happens. When that happens, when that thing shows up, when someone gives you feedback, most people ignore their inner knowing. Most people go, you know what, that fear is greater than my commitment to my vision, and they stop. Okay, so they ignore their inner knowing. They settle for the next best thing. This looks like rationalizing. And then the next best thing isn't that fulfilling. It like doesn't do it for you. And so you give up. And this is normally what happens. And this happened for me over and over again when I was thinking about starting a business and I would quit. Something would happen to validate the fear. So here's what's awesome is there is a way out. There is a way out. But the first step is creating awareness around the specific thing that showed up to validate your fear. It looks different for everyone. And it's very specific. The nature of it, the energy of it is communicating something to you. So you want to notice what happened. When I have a client who's got someone registered for their retreat who reaches out and says, I can't come, I changed my mind, right? I always tell them the very first thing you want to find out is what happened. Because something happened to validate the fear, and that's what has created this downward cycle in the spiral, or a spiral in the cycle of proving. What happened? There's a specific thing that happened, and within that thing, you'll see the seed of the fear. So we can break through it, but here's what you want to know is the fear always has to do with something you're trying to prove. 9 times out of 10, it's something you're trying to prove to either your mom or your dad. You might be trying to prove them right, that you're not ungrateful. That was my story. You might be trying to prove them wrong. But you're trying to prove something to mom or dad, and that decision about who you had to be or who you couldn't be or who you would never be is running your life. It's running your life. And whatever this is holds the energy of that. It holds the key. So, proving. Mom or dad. For women, what I've found is it's mostly mom. Okay? So there's something inherent in here, and when we can unlock that, we can totally transform that pattern. And here's what happens. Then you no longer ignore your inner knowing. You remember, wait, that vision was real. And you're able to interrupt the pattern. And give yourself a new experience. See, right now, all of your experiences, all of your neural pathways are programmed to stop right here. You cannot think your way through this. You cannot rationalize your way through this. Your subconscious mind is trying to grab on as tightly as possible to anything that will let you stay in this old pattern and stop here. Okay? So this could look like a perfect opportunity that's actually a bright, shiny object that distracts you from this, right? And it seems like it's all perfect, but it's really just also in alignment with your fear, right? It's proving whatever it is that you've been trying to prove your whole life. There's no gold down this tunnel. You will never, ever prove it, okay? So you have to give yourself a new experience, and that creates a whole new neural pathway. But you don't know what new experience to give until you've really worked with this and identified this. And when you do give yourself a new experience, what's super cool is an even greater vision will reveal itself. So as you move forward toward this and you conquer this, Spirit will give you more, right? More gets made available to you. So it's super exciting. This is how we continue to grow and expand and transform out loud as leaders in consciousness, as leaders in empowerment and love and freedom on the planet. We've got to keep working with this fear. So the reason that we stay here in this cycle and we don't address this is it's scary to go here. Because in the moment we decided who we needed to be, we shut off a part of ourselves, and that's our shadow side. So there's some version of you that needs to be embodied and integrated and become a part of the options of who you get to be in life. And as long as that's in the shadow, you are trapped here. So we'd rather not see this, which is why the bright, shiny object or the rationalizing and quitting feels so much better in the short term, right? And we think that it's like, oh, that was the right decision because I feel better. But it's a temporary feeling better, and we've just avoided going where we actually need to go to break through and create that transformation. So what do? I'm super excited. I decided, I really got this download to offer a virtual retreat, a short training, intensive, immersive, to really look at this pattern and how it's showing up for you. So if you're in a place where you can tell that you're meant to shift and shake things up, but you're a little nervous to go there, I've created a container to take this information a bit deeper and really start to explore and look at what's coming up for you in your world and how you can move past it. The workshop is called Transform Out Loud: How to Turn Your Shadows into Your Light Without Risking What You've Built. So one of the reasons we don't go here, one of the reasons our ego gets uncomfortable, is because we feel like there's so much at risk. And what I've found for myself in my own journey and with my clients is that it really isn't that big of a leap. The inner leap is huge, right? It feels like you're going to die if you embrace this truth. And on the outside, what happens is a slight shift in energy that opens everything up for you. It just opens up the flow. So we can do this work of transforming out loud without having to risk it all. And in my opinion, the more of us that do that work, the better world we get to live in. Because the reason it's so hard and the reason it's so scary is because it's not talked about. Because we shame people for changing their mind, for shifting directions, for, no longer being the person they were yesterday. And actually being nimble like that is what it really is going to take to change our world. So the workshop is happening on Saturday, November 25th. This is right smack in the middle between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Like, what better timing to take a stand for your value system and transforming out loud rather than buying into, what is typically going on at that time. Now, if you are traveling, if you're in the US and you're traveling for the Thanksgiving holiday, guess what? There is no better space to be in than in that time with your family to really hone in on this cycle of proving. So actually, I consider it really divine timing. What else do I need to tell you about this? It is live interactive, so we will be doing live coaching on the call. I'm guessing it will be relatively intimate. If you cannot make it live, you absolutely can follow along and do the work in the recording. You will get the recording. The investment in this virtual retreat, I've got it slated for 2 hours, is $97. So for just $97, you can really understand the cycle of proving better. You can understand how it's working for you. You can understand how it's working for your clients and the people who are potentially going to be high-level clients with you. And you're going to get insight into this fear. How does this fear show up for you? If you feel like you've been in Groundhog Day experiencing the same type of thing over and over again, freedom is available. It really is. And we're going to dive into that together on Saturday the 25th. I hope this has been helpful. Please let us know what you're taking away just from this. What are you noticing? What are you noticing about the way your fear tends to show up? Please make a comment or email our support@alignedentrepreneurs.com team. Let us know. And for those of you who want to take this learning deeper, I'll see you on the 25th. This is Darla LeDoux of Aligned Entrepreneurs, and we'll see you soon.